Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of The Disruption. My name is Claire Munde. Now, a lot of people think about the gig economy. They think about it as a way of getting away from the hustle of bustle of working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But what really is the gig economy? Is it as glamorous as it's made to look like? We're going to find out today. And today I have on set with me two very good guests. I have Purity Kithusi, who is the Enterprise Development Coordinator at the Equity Group Foundation. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
We also have Clarissa Maha, who is a digital entrepreneur. And we're here to debunk what exactly the gig economy is and if it is right for you. Because as millennials and Gen Zs, they like flexibility. They want to be able to work when they want, how they want, and still earn a good living. So we want to understand, what is the gig economy, first of all? And I think I'll direct that question to you. Purity. A lot of millennials and Gen Zs are looking at getting a good amount of money, but not being fixed in a 8 to 5 position every day. Tell us a little bit about what the gig economy is, and then we'll go to Clarissa to tell us about her experiences.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. For me, I will say for the gig economy or the gig workers, it's more of freelancing. Freelancing is whereby you find this worker has more time compared to someone who's employed, because someone who's employed, they're fixed, their time is fixed from 8 to 5, and sometimes there's even overworking and even getting early in their jobs. But for this gig worker, at least it needs someone who's determined, because they have more free time. They can decide when to work, when not to work. For also the gig worker, this type of environment, you find that their incomes, it's volatile. So it keeps on fluctuating. It's not like someone who's employed in employment where they get a fixed amount of money. Let me call it a paycheck, or a salary at the end of that month. But for this gig worker, their streams, their income streams are different, and they get different even pays. They can get a pay today, tomorrow there's no pay. So it keeps on fluctuating. So it needs someone who's very determined. I can say, mtu wa kujituma. Because if you're lazy, it's doomed. You're doomed.
I like
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's for me how I understand the gig worker.
And I like the way you've just broken it down. It's just basically like freelancing. But as you said, you need to be very determined. And I think I want to ask you, Clarissa, what your experience has been in the gig economy. Because sometimes people have this idea like you're just going to be swimming in money. You get this huge gig. You have a lot of money and you're swimming in it. But as she said, if you don't work, the work might not come. It's kind of like a business, you're self-employed basically and looking for that kind of money. So just tell us what your experience has been in the gig economy and what sectors exactly you work in.
Let me give, first of all, a secret about myself. Since a young age, very young, 205, I know that's a bit young, but yeah, I've always been someone who puts herself to work, be it planning, helping my parents plan their birthday parties, or helping my family members plan get-togethers or everything. So from a young age, I've always been someone who is putting myself to work no matter what it is. I can't just sit and look and enjoy the time. So when I realized this, and I was in freelancing now, or the gig economy, it became apparent to me that this is where I need to be. Because if someone has come to ask me, can you help me edit this because I'm in the video editing industry, or rather how I call it, the digital entrepreneur, who you take gigs. It's literally just taking gigs. When someone asks me, can you help me do video editing? And then they tell me, oh, I'm looking for someone who can do photography on the side. I'm like, oh, I have someone. And by luck, that someone can be me, or it can be someone I've actually outsourced. And in terms of what I've experienced in the gig economy, whatever she said, it's true. You think that you can have this free time and you can relax and enjoy your time and choose when you want to work and choose when. No, it's a 365 type of 365. No pay, sometimes excessive pay, but then the management is where now the no pay will come in again. So you have to be very careful with how you spend your money. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So you really need to be careful because there's days when it's really raining money, and
Yes.
then there are days it's dry, and that's where it comes to being very deliberate about how you manage your money, so that when it's really good, you
Yeah.
balance it out so that all the months are covered. So maybe Purity, tell us a little bit about what you should consider before going into the gig economy, because as you said, it's about kujituma. If you just sit there, you may be broke. So tell us, if there's somebody out there, a Gen Z, a millennial who is in an 8 to 5 job, then they go on Instagram, they go on TikTok, they go on Facebook, and they look, these people look like they're having fun. I mean, they don't have to wake up early. And as you said, there's overtime. Sometimes you come in at 7, you leave at 6, and someone is thinking it would be nice to just wake up when I want. Tell us, who is this gig economy for? Because not everyone can manage it. Clarissa said that she's been ambitious from a very long time. There are people who are just comfortable. I want my money at the end of the month. So what should you consider before deciding that maybe I'll leave this job, or maybe when I've finished my studies, I'll go into the gig economy, or I should just get a job first before I understand what is really entailed in the gig economy?
Okay, I will say before you consider going into the gig economy or be a gig worker, I've seen others even check out of salary or maybe employment and get into now the gig working space. It needs someone who's very responsible, by the way, because if you're not responsible, you have everything at your hands. You can decide, I'll do this, I'll not do this. So if you're responsible, and sometimes it's painful, going through this journey for the financial management, because you need to be a very good financial management planner. You need to know how to plan for your finances. So if you get that good money, like Clarissa is saying, there are those times when it's a rainy season and you need to get that safety jacket or safety net for yourself. So you need to keep aside at least an emergency fund for that. So it's not all smooth. It will be up and downs, up and downs. So the other thing, it needs someone who, being responsible, I also mean someone who also understands there's also tax paying when they earn. Most of these gig workers, they are not permanently employed. Some are self-employed, others temporary, others on contract. They have to understand that if you're employed, for example, the employer who has employed you has to pay the taxes, the withholding tax from your paycheck. And even if you've self-employed yourself, if they are the contracts and what have you, you need to know that you're supposed to file these taxes. Of course, some try to get away with it, but for how long? So there are those consequences of not filing your returns, because they are also supposed to file their annual returns, sometimes quarterly because of the up and downs of their fluctuations of their income. But they are supposed to be responsible in that side of also filing those returns. So they should know if it's on a rainy season. Rainy season here, it means that you don't have that income. So what is there for you? You need to be a very good planner, because I've also come to understand most of these Gen Zs, they don't have that, like 80%, they don't have the financial education knowledge. So you need to educate yourself, learn more on the financial planning, financial education, talk to people. The education is there online. You can even talk to your friends. The other thing I would advocate, it's good for this person before they go into that space. Have a friend. Have that skill. What is it in the businesses that they do? What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? And then when you get all this information, you can be able to make now that sound decision before jumping into the gig economy.
I like that. Find out from your friends or colleagues who've been there before you what it really entails, instead of just jumping in and then you realize, actually, this is not for me. And I like what you talked about, Purity, about there are rainy seasons, there are sunny seasons. And so you need to understand that you're going to be responsible for your taxes and many other things. And I'd like to know, Clarissa, what your experience has been, being highs and lows. Have you been good in your opinion, in managing your money, or has it been a learning curve that you first got money and then you realized you didn't really plan for it properly and then you learned along the way? Or how have you gone about managing your money through the seasons? Because as you said, there are times there's a lot of money, there's times it's really dry.
Yeah.
So how have you gone about that?
So my experience is very, very different. It started off just before 2020. I was learning about stocks, indexes. I was learning about crypto. I was learning just because I wanted knowledge about financial freedom and all these things. Now, I didn't know that I would be propelled into the gig economy. I found myself here. And I was like, I'm rolling with the punches, and that's it. So when I got my first big paycheck, I was like, this is money. Ha! That's it. I didn't think about anything else. I didn't think about this. I didn't think about that. I was just like, you know what? Let me take my sister here. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. And when I was down to my final 5 shillings, I was like, the client called me. Hi. Oh, so the project, we need to go back and revise a few things. And I was like, what do you mean?
I thought I was done.
Yeah, there's no more money for that office space. So how can we work? Now, for me, I love dialogue. I don't panic sometimes in any situation. I love dialogue. What I know, I've made the mistake. I've done this and this and this and this. Transparency is key.
Yeah.
How can we work together so that I can help you, help me, help you again? So yeah, the first paycheck, 0, nothing. Learned 0. I thought I was prepared with reading for what, 6, 4, 5 hours, taking courses online, taking everything, the free online financial courses. But no, it's really not the same. Once it's here, it's not the same. So now after that, I was like, okay, fine. I need to restructure myself. I need to find a way whereby this bank or this account or da-da-da-da can be for a particular thing. I believe it's a stop method, savings, operations, taxes, and profit. That's the method that I have to deal with. So even though it's 5 shillings that's coming in, that 5 shillings needs to be divided in that stop method. Even though it's the big checks that are coming in, the big checks have to be divided equally. And it's not at it because, this month you want to go somewhere, you're planning to go somewhere, you extend your profit. No. Extend your taxes rather than your profit. Extend your taxes and extend your operations.
Yeah.
Everything else will sort itself out.
And let me ask you, as you went along, were you aware of like the tax implications that Purity was talking about? Because sometimes some Gen Zs and millennials, when they get these opportunities and they get this huge amount of money and they're thinking, wow, this is all going to come to me. But then you don't realize, as Purity said, you will have to have that withholding tax. There's some tax filing that you have to do at the end of the day. Were you aware of these things? Because I think it's very important for people to be aware of it. So even as you're doing those negotiations and whatnot, you know that, there's a tax element to it. There are other factors that I need to have. Did you have that prior knowledge? Or you learned?
No, I learned on the spot. It was literally on the spot.
Yeah.
When the contract was asked and they asked me, where's the tax section? I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Please enlighten me.
Yeah.
And they were kind enough to explain to me that it's this and this and this and this. Here's some websites you can go and visit that you need to understand more, some YouTube channels. Even at the time when TikTok was TikTok, I went and I read. But now the problem with the TikTok environment, what I was reading was consumption for the US market. So the tax system is really not the same.
Different, yeah.
I panicked and I was like, all these papers. No, guys, these are a lot of papers. Therefore, I had to get a friend. Like you say, get a friend, learn from your friends, learn from your peers, learn from people who've been in the industry.
Yeah.
So I got a friend and I was like, please, this is a lot of numbers, and as far as I can remember, numbers didn't do well with help. And they were nice. They helped me and I learned what I needed to learn. Until today, if something is looking out of place, I call them and I'm like, the numbers are not making sense. They're like, okay, send me a screenshot, let me review it. We work together, you'll be okay, you'll be fine.
Okay.
But yeah. I
think
didn't know.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And Purity, maybe you can talk us through. And I like that point about talking to a friend, sending that screenshot, and it just has to be someone who's dependable. Because sometimes in this gig economy, some people get burnt because they don't want to share information, and you end up being burnt. And then later on, you realize how many people have you heard that they were doing a similar job, and one person was being paid 10,000, another person 100,000, another person 500,000. So sometimes keeping quiet doesn't really help you. So you need to know who to talk to so that you're not also getting the short end of the stick. But just as she said, she learned about taxes and whatnot as she was going along. What are some of the things that somebody, a gig worker, needs to have in place to make sure that they're all right? You talked about the emergency fund. What other things should you be thinking about? Because when you're in a regular job, many times you have medical cover, you have pension maybe, and other benefits. So now as a person on your own, you may see this is a very big contract, but then remember you have medical that you need to think about by yourself many times. So how does someone go about structuring all these things? Because there are some things that should be non-negotiable. You could fall sick anytime. You don't want to be without medical cover, and then all that money from your contract goes to paying that. So how can this Gen Z, this millennial, make sure that they have, okay, I'm set with my medical cover, I'm putting something towards retirement, even if it seems like it's far away, and so on and so forth?
Okay. My advice will go like this, that as a gig worker, first you have to have an income that you need to plan from. So if it was a time that you got that income, it's good now you start now the financial planning that I was talking about. Do a budget. Track your incomes. Where are they coming from? How much were they? Now, also go direct now to your spending. It's always good to check on your spending, where you're spending. It's always like Clarissa said, she was like, I can take you out. And more people like that lifestyle of when they get good money, they're like, chafua meza. It's supposed to keep you well, not the vice versa. Yeah. So there's that, what do I call it? Temptation when you have that money and you've not really planned for it. So when you have that money, it's always good at least to keep aside. You can even spread the ways of your saving. You can keep some in assets, some in the shares, in the bonds, invest. And the moment you do so by spreading or diversifying, you're managing risk that might a misfortune that might occur later or in future. And also by diversifying, at least you're able to get more returns out of it. So you don't just focus on one place. And when you're saving, you need to be a very disciplined person, because this planning, like you've said, they don't have these employment benefits of retirement. So they find themselves, yes, at some point I had a lot of money, but right now there's nothing to show for. So it's good to always plan for that prior, because if in this life you are born, of course, you're going to retire at some point, even if you're working for yourself. So it's always good to, there are even accounts which can help you in the retirement plan. I know of the invest in individual retirement tax accounts, where you can be putting monies, and it has tax benefits, and there is no even pension. And it also has ways that you can also withdraw this money in case you need it. So the emergency fund, like you had asked, it's always good to have that in place, because an injury can happen, sickness can just happen, any other thing, or even your parents back at home, or anybody who knows you. So I have such an emergency and I'll need support from you. So you need to have such a fund that will cushion you in terms of such seasons. But if you don't have, you leave yourself more exposed. So you find that you're using more of your savings, more of what you've invested, because you've not planned well for that. It's always good, even if you have small income, push yourself to do saving on a fixed budget. So make sure you know what you need. First, have a goal. What is it that you want to attain? Is it a short-term goal? Is it a long-term goal? And then now you start working towards that. It's also good to have a saving plan in place, because the moment you just put monies all over without a direction, you'll just find yourself misusing that money. Yeah, you're a good saver, you keep money, but you always go back and get that money back. So it will never cushion you in times of those emergencies,
Yeah.
and in case when you need the retirement plans and what have you. So it's always good to have that in place to caution you in case of such misfortunes.
I like what she's mentioning about your health insurance. For me, being in this particular industry, in the entertainment, media sector, you have to take care of your vision, you have to take care of your back,
Yeah.
and you have to take care of your overall health. So it's your
Yes.
vision first.
Yes.
Because if your vision goes,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's going to be an issue, but it's really going to be an issue. And the more that you prolong taking care of your vision, the harder it's going to be to rectify the issues up ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do have that money and you're putting it towards your health and everything, I ensure that my vision is taken care of.
Yeah.
If you want to if you're walking by town or you're walking anywhere and you see an optic or something, you just have to pop in, ask, hi, look at my 2020. Is my 2020 okay? Fine, no problem. Once in a while, go for your chiro. Go make sure your back is okay because I'm sitting long hours.
Yeah.
After that, make sure now that you, that you go now to hospital and get your general checkup.
Checkup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That point is very key.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we really overlook our health sometimes because you're like, whack, 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 whack. But yeah, sometimes you just, even in terms of resting,
Yes.
switch off your phone, leave it wherever you leave it, put it in
Yeah.
a safe and forget the password.
Yeah.
And come back.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
I
you
like
You know, at
that.
times when you've not managed your finances well, the Gen Zs
Yeah.
or the young people or the people in the gig economy or the gig workers, at least they have time, they can balance life, work. But when you don't manage that properly,
Yeah.
now you're hit, I need
Yeah.
money. And by the way,
Yeah.
this month I have this and these expenses. And some are, they are really expenses you really need money for.
Yes.
Because you cannot postpone them. So you're wondering what can you do about it. So you find this gig worker is working overtime
Yeah.
to meet on those expenses because of lack of this planning. So they lack that work-life balance because they
Yeah.
get money haraka haraka, they overspend it, they think it will be like that the following day,
Yes.
which is not the case.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think those are very good points that you've put across. Like, you need to take care of your health as well. So
Yeah.
those annual checkups, if you're, let's say, in photography or whatever media industry, make sure you take care of your vision. Pop in the ophthalmologist, check everything, because it will be more expensive
Yeah.
to cure something rather than to catch it at the beginning. Now, our time is really running, but I'd like to maybe have your final comments on the way you talked about having different accounts for different things and being disciplined. For a gig worker, are there some accounts that are preferable to others? Because, it's dependent on the money coming in. So someone might think, if I put my money in land, if I need it, it will be hard to get it. So is there something that they should be thinking more about in terms of asset classes, or they should just spread it all around? So should they think, let's say, money market funds because it's short term, in case of anything, I'm good, or they should just spread it around?
It's good to spread it around, but for me, being a banker as well in Equity, sure, we have accounts that take care of this, and I would advise, because we have more lock saving accounts, so they can walk in, see the one which is more favorable for them, maybe saving for a year, saving for a lifetime. We have all those types of accounts, and sometimes you don't have to work in a bank physically to open some of these accounts. You can even open them online. We have the mobile app. We also have the online banking where you can use your laptop, open, even if you have queries, everything is there at your disposal. The other thing, they can do like you're saying, the market shares. They are short term, others even long term, but they are good. They have benefits better than now the bitcoins she was talking about. At least here you're a bit
Yeah.
safe and
Yeah.
secure. You're sure you
Yeah.
get something at the end of it all. And
Yeah.
the best thing about it is that you start small. You don't have to have a lot of money to start saving. So you can start small, buy small shares from this company and another one. Of course, we have advisors also, or you can get yours, a mentor who can walk you through in investment or the type of accounts that you want to open, they'll advise you now according to your own need, because different people have different needs. We have various places that they can also invest, like real estates. We have now the bonds. Yeah, so there are many things that they can look when they are investing, but more important is to have that mentor or advisor in place to try and help you to plan or invest according now to your income streams. You know, they're fluctuating. At least them, they'll understand and know this is the best for you.
Yeah, I like that Equity has like people who will work with you, and you don't have to physically go there, because it's all about convenience. Huh?
Yes.
I can do it online. I can do it through the app.
Yeah.
So before I get your final comments on advice you'll give Gen Zs and millennials on the gig economy, I'd like to also get your perspective for those people who are now thinking, this is it, I want to get into the gig economy. What one piece of advice could you give them?
One.
Yeah, just one.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Now all of them are just rushing in my head. Oh goodness. For me, from my personal experience, research will never end. Researching will never end. It's something that will keep you up at night, it'll keep you up during the day, it'll keep you up 24/7. You have to research on yourself, your clients, the products that you're working on with, the software, if it is. Like for me, AI is coming in fast.
Yeah.
So I have to keep up with AI as well. Yeah, I believe that's the one. Research will never end, and always take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And have everything in writing.
Yes.
In the gig economy, have everything in writing.
Yeah.
If it can't be writing, email.
Yes.
Just have it in an email.
You need a blueprint of
Whatever you're
a
doing.
trail of everything,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah. These verbal agreements sometimes can bring you problems. So I
Yeah,
like
very
that
true.
piece of advice.
Yeah.
And you, Purity, as we close, what piece of advice could you give those Gen Zs and millennials?
For the Gen Zs and the millennials and anyone who's looking into getting into the gig economy, there's much you can tap into, but it needs you to be more disciplined. I know there are a lot of temptations, good things every day. You want this, you want that, you want to spoil your friends, but it's not an easy journey. It's a painful one, because at some point, by the way, you'll have to lose some. So because they are always asking, kila siku, where is the form? But if you're focused, you know what you want, you'll lose them at some point, because now you don't have money to keep on spending, to keep on spoiling your friends. So know what you want, then get into it, have your vision, like Clarissa has said. What is it that you want to attain in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? What is it? It will keep you focused. And then now have those friends in place who share the same goal. Never walk this journey alone. There are people who are ready to walk with you the journey. Yeah, so that is the advice that I can give them.
I like that. So focus, and make sure that you're working with someone, because there are people who have been there before you.
Yeah.
You don't have to make so many mistakes when there are people who could help you. So I think that has been very enlightening, and I'm sure those Gen Zs, millennials who are considering the gig economy now have a little bit to work with and think, do I want to get into employment? Do I want to get into the gig economy, and how to go about it? So I'd like to thank you, Purity and Clarissa, for sharing your advice and experiences. And at this point, I'd like us to close. This has been the Disruption Show. Until next week, you have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.